So real quick, we are going to start the intake swap, and it is going to be rather monotonous or super fast. We're going to find out which. So I'm just going to do a swap on time lapse and come back when I'm done, and we'll see it installed and everything else. I'll show some details on the intake because this has like the LS3 style map on it, and the new intake has the nice provisions for like a couple different spots, and they're sealed, but they have the bolt hole for that Gen 4 style map, I guess you would call it, and then you drill a hole into the 3/8 O-ring cavity and then bolt it down, so you can choose either one without having to do some weird block off. So I'll do my best to like hang this thing up here and time lapse this intake swap. Okay, thanks, bye. So I figured I would show this. I'm putting parts of the intake together, and it comes with fatter O-rings like an LSA has. So these are the like your regular style O-ring, and then these are the bigger O-rings that go into the intake. The seat is bigger, it comes with those. It comes with a bunch of junk, and I'll overview that once I get it working. So I'm just gonna spray these and put them in, and then try to get the rail on from there, and we'll see how everything goes, and hopefully it's all happy. Quick detail here, this intake, if you get these MSD Atomic rails with it, I believe the stock ones fit because it has the channel here for the stock fuel rails to fit. It comes with two different height brackets, so these are like medium length EV14s from Snake Eater, and it comes with a bracket for like LS1 height or Deca 80 height or the tall boy style injector, and I put one on each bracket to see what would fit, and obviously the short side got installed first because the shorter ones fit. So I just wanted to show, since this is a whole part of it, that it comes with both heights, and you either, it's tough to get this information from a website, you either have to have the tall ones or the mediums for this. I'm assuming if you have like a Pico or LS3 LSA height, you are going to need a hat to make up this distance, because this is as low as these can go unless they make a completely flush bracket with no lift kit on it. Oh, so that is that pertinent information right there. And I got this stuff all over everything, that's what you can see, but I like to make sure I'm not gonna have any issues here. Line them all up. Oh man, there couldn't be a more satisfying install to that possible, to be honest. Plop. You know, they all went right on. That's why you hose them down. So here's one of the map sensor locations I was talking about. These are all closed, and you have to drill. They tell you to do an 1/8 inch hole. There's one in the front over here, like LS3 style intakes. There's one here, and there is one all the way on the back of the intake too, if you want to hide it. I haven't decided yet. I'll probably put it in the front where the stock Camaro Corvette style is. Just makes the most sense to me. There's nothing really up there. It shouldn't be in the way of anything. Putting it back here makes it hard to reach, and inevitably then you're probably gonna have to, you know, you're gonna have to mess with it if you put it all the way back there. The other neat thing is it has little O-rings. Let me touch this quick. It has tiny little O-rings for the intake bolts, so you can O-ring them. They tell you to put the O-ring on the bottom, and it has a little tapered seat there, almost like one of these guys. So Orb O-ring boss, I just remembered. So yeah, we'll get that stuff going. I'll figure some stuff out. I'll see which ones need to be capped and whatever, and see which is easiest to go to my brake booster, and we'll go from there. Okay, a pretty good finding here. I do not have a car map sensor. I got this truck guy, and I noticed that the opening here, the map sensor wouldn't even go in at all. Like over here, it won't even start. So I tried filing it a little and realized that wasn't going to happen. So the other ones might have a different opening. I'm not sure. I have the cheapo 4-bar here that we use in the turbo cars now, and that didn't fit either. So I just started drilling into this until I could get to a point where it would fit pretty snug. And it looks like the bolt hole is off a little bit, but you know, we're going to cross all these bridges when we get to them. So that's interesting. I might not have the right map. I have like a truck style map. So I was going to O-ring this guy and then see if it'll go on, and then see how we do from there. Yeah, the bolt hole's off center, but I think it'll... Alright, it did go on. It doesn't go flush though, so I think the outer O-ring part might need to be opened up. I mean, at this point it probably wouldn't matter, but if you want, I want it to fit. I want it to actually fit. So this is interesting that this doesn't fit. So, you know, could be my fault, could be that it's too small. Either way, I'm gonna keep drilling everything lightly until I get to the end. Alright, well, I drilled enough to get this going in here and make it nice and snug with everything. So what I did was just keep tapering it until I was happy. I'm not an expert. And then I got none of these bolts, a couple of these are too long. This threads, but so I had a coil pack bolt. Obviously I have a bin. I have many bins like this where it's all LS bolts, and very similarly the map sensor stuff is the same. So I got this guy going and it's good. I'm going to tighten it down and then show you. And then they tell you to drill an 1/8 inch hole in there, right there, so it can get map signal. The other ones are blocked off, so there's more. So I forgot to, well, I mean, you guys know how this goes. I didn't want to film me like putting this thing on. I had to move a bunch of things. I had to make this line in the front. I didn't have anything. The Holly came with 6s. I have a bunch of 8s. The Holly, these fuel rails were smaller. They have a smaller thread, like a 3/8, and the other stuff I had was a larger thread. You get the whole idea. So I just had to mess around for a while. I moved the studs from my Trailblazer intake over here. I think I plugged everything in, but it is almost 1 o'clock, so I'm kind of trying to wrap it up. I want to bandsaw this off. This is when I use the stock computer. Part of me actually wants to plug this in. It's a LS7 mass air meter. I could read pounds per minute then, airflow. That would be kind of interesting, but you know, who cares? I want to cut this back here, and then I have a 90, and hopefully I can just fit all this. I have a straight piece and a 90 and some other stuff. Hopefully I can continue this. My friend Area 1320, Ryan Gary, made this in the beginning for the blower, so you know, I'll just contract him to do that. This might be in the way, but I don't like how close it is to the belt, so we'll weigh our options there. Obviously this flipped over to the other side would make it easier, but I'll have to take off the throttle every time I want to mess with the belt, which shouldn't be that often anyway. And I'm waiting for, this is a LS1 tensioner guy here. When I swapped from the blower, I had to go to something with ribs. This was a smooth pulley, so I ordered one and they sent me a cabin filter instead, annoyingly, and I have an 8-rib belt now that I fit a 6-rib, so I'm waiting to get another one of these and then swap it all back over to 8. It is not easy to get this kidney, as LOJ calls it, in and out. It is pretty annoying, so I don't want to do that very often. I plugged everything. I hooked up my booster line, comes out of here, goes around behind the firewall and to the shrouded booster, so that worked out good. This guy's plugged, stuff in the back is plugged. There's like a 5/8 or something back there for the booster that I'm not using. I think everything's ready to go, so when it's not 1 a.m. I will fire it and get it going, see how it does. And then I should immediately try to get this hooked up, because it's just going to be eating hot air off the rad, even on the dyno. So we'll figure it all out, and we'll see the horsepower gains. I'm pretty dang interested.